Hey, Lisa Millier, welcome to Hey Universe, I'm here. Now, thank you to those people that have been listening up to now, and thank you to anyone who listens in the future. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of my world. And share this on with anyone else. Share this podcast with anyone that's interested in the universe, the quantum field, how energy works, manifestation, and really just getting out of your head and creating your reality from a different place. And speaking of that, today's topic is all about the brain and how we have to actually shift from the brain into using our intuition. So, really, it's about our intuition. So, today's episode is tapping into your intuition. Why is it so important to tap into your intuition? Well, when we're born without any patterns. So, we have the first 7 years, we're in theta, the brain's in a pattern called theta, and it's a higher frequency. And it's a little bit like a photocopier. So, what it's doing, it's out there noticing all the patterns of reality, all the programming, and it's out there noticing things and observing. And this is done unconsciously, and it's bringing those patterns in. So when your mum said something about money, you might have been two, you didn't understand it, but your brain wired this in. When your teacher at school did something around boys and girls, and you were a boy, and you thought, a boy's always like that. Is that how boys act? And then you decided that boys can't cry or whatever that is. So we wire this thing in for the first 7 years of our lives. We're wiring in these unconscious patterns. And when you hear people talking online about rewiring your subconscious, it's really your unconscious because there's three brains. There's the automatic brain, the unconscious, that is doing the breathing, that is making sure you're living, that all your systems and your organs are working, or your hormones are working, all those things, right? Then you have your subconscious, which is just below the level of your consciousness. It is more conscious than the unconscious, but it's not the unconscious. It's not as hidden. So you'll have things pop up from there more easily that you're aware of than your unconscious. So you might get a thing that jumps up from a to-do list from your subconscious. So it might just jump up from your subconscious into your conscious, and you'll go, oh, that's right, I said I was going to get eggs today. That's not so much from the unconscious, that's coming from the subconscious. And it's things like your emotions and that are coming from that level. Then you have your conscious brain. And this is the one right now where I'm talking to you. But guess what? When we're first born, we are so conscious of everything around us. We are so conscious and aware of things. We connect into things using our intuition. And that's why a baby might not go to a certain person and they're like, start screaming, because they're not using their brain. They're using that part of themselves that we can't completely understand or actually even put words to sometimes, right? But I call it your superconscious part of you, or that really super intuitive, super aware, super potent, super powerful, super magical part of you, and super abundant. But that first 7 years, it's wired out of you. So you're born, you come in as this baby, you're super aware, super potent, super magical. And 4 or 5 year olds are like, I want more, or 2 or 3 year olds, and they get it. They're like, I want more, mummy. And they don't see that there's a lack. There's no lack in their brains. Their brain is full of abundance, creativity, because they're in this higher space of theta. And they're also tapping into higher states of alpha and gamma as well. But by 7, we have wired in so much of our family's patterns, the culture scape, or the culture, whatever you want to call it. We've wired in our religious, cultural space as well, churches we're going to. We're wiring in things from our family, our friends, our teachers, gym instructor. It doesn't matter who it is. We're wiring this stuff in and we don't even know what it is. It's all done unconsciously. Now, why does the brain do this? The brain does this because it wants you to act with less energy. And it's been something that's been going on for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It's conserving energy. So it has all these filters that filter out anything that doesn't match your pattern. Did you know that? We are living in these unconscious patterns 95% of the day. Only 5% of our day is conscious unless we rewire it. So any unconscious pattern you have around your body or money that's driving the show, you have these filtering systems, one of them called the reticular activating system, that only notices what matches those patterns. So you spend that first 7 years wiring this stuff in, and it's all based on lack. I'm sorry to say it, you don't wire in the gratitude, you're wiring the patterns about money is hard, and if I'm a girl, I have to act that way, and our bodies only do this, and you're meant to be skinny, and we only eat that food, whatever it is. And it's all about trying to fix. So our parents' patterns are based on trying to fix what they think is wrong with them, because they've wired in all these ancestral patterns as well around I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I don't belong, I don't have the resources, I don't have the capabilities. So every pattern is based on those assumptions. We only wire in our patterns based on these underlying things about I don't belong, I'm not good enough, I don't have the resources, I don't have the capabilities, I'm not worthy. And then they become our reality as these filtering systems kick in, the reticular activating system, and these other ones in the hippocampus as well. But the reticular activating system actually activates things around your emotions. It regulates some of your hormones. It helps with sleep. It helps with breathing. So it's really fundamental to us living. And it's also a filtering system. So, of course, if you're filtering out things that make you feel good, then it's kicking off that matches the cortisol, the stress and the adrenaline hormones that match that you don't feel good as well. So it's helping do that. Isn't that interesting? So you are actually living your patterns and your underlying unconscious patterns right now. You're actually living them. Everything you have right now, money, your body, food that you eat, relationships, is all based on the patterns, or what psychologists might call the schema. And these are the fundamental things that we're operating from all the time. And this reticular activating system and other filtering systems only show you that. They only show you what matches that pattern. And their job is to find evidence to keep that going, to keep you alive. So it's like, yeah, men are scary because that happened to me. Oh, we don't eat that food because that puts on weight. Or we do eat this food because it's good for you. And it will keep finding evidence. It'll keep observing more. It'll keep observing more of that. But guess what? The flip side of it is it won't find evidence for how amazing you are. It's not going to find evidence that you're incredible as a coach if you've never coached before. It's not going to find evidence that you're an amazing partner if you've never been in a relationship before. So you actually have to train it. You have to train your brain to find the evidence of something new, because it's always looking for the lack. It's always looking for what's wrong. It's always trying to fill this void with more evidence that matches your underlying patterns. And as I said, they are all based on these foundational ones, which are schema, these foundational schema, which is basically, I don't belong, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I don't have the resources, I don't have the capabilities, I'm not perfect. So it's all based on these schema, and you're wiring in everything to match that. So the reticular activating system is doing its job really well, because if something happened to you when you were little, when you were bullied, it's going to keep you away from that situation again. It's going to stop you from getting out of your comfort zone. If it was around talking in front of people, it's going to stop you from having those opportunities, and you won't notice where you can do it with ease. You won't be shown those things that are easy for you. You'll be shown, oh my goodness, there we go again. That's something I don't like, I'm not good at. Let's not do that. And you'll find more evidence to prove it. So you get up to talk and you stuff it up. And then there's more evidence, okay? So it starts to literally create our reality. But there is another way. We can rewire our brain to be in higher frequency like theta again. Because since we've had that wiring, our brain is dropped down into beta. So most of the planet is sitting on beta, which is a lower problem-solving frequency, right? But we can retrain our brain. We can retrain it through what we say. We can retrain it through journaling. We can retrain it through visualization, meditation, and mind activations, which are a type of activating meditation, which gets you to tap into your intuition. So the key is, my friend, is not to be operating out of your brain to begin with. When we start to tap into our intuition, our brain goes into this higher frequency anyway, starts to sit in this theta and alpha and gamma again, because we're sitting more in a meditative state when we tap into our intuition, and we're no longer accessing those lower schema, those patterns, those unconscious patterns we've been living in. And like I said at the beginning, we are living in these unconscious patterns 95% of the day. Only 5% of our day is conscious unless we rewire it. So our brain is saving energy by having us live unconsciously 95% of the day. Now, when I saw this, I cried, not with, oh my goodness, that is so bad, but I got to see what was driving me. I got to see it wasn't technically me, but it was these patterns driving me, right? So we can technically rewire it, but what we do first is we start to tap into our intuition. And when we do that, we are tapping into a part of us that is not reliant on these old unconscious patterns, these schema that keep operating all the time. So why would we want to do that? Because when we're in our intuition, we're accessing an already abundant part of us. When we're in our knowing, there is no lack. There is no, there's something wrong. There is no, I need to fix that. There is no, you need to do this. And there's no controlling. And you can only be in your intuition, tapping into that intuitive, superconscious space in the present moment. So when we sit and be in a meditation or a type of activation or anything that takes you to that space, it could be sitting on the beach, it could be watching some birds, it could be watching children play. We are naturally starting to slow our brain down, and we're changing its frequency into a higher frequency, okay? So beta is a very fast, lots of thoughts going around. And when we go into these other higher frequency, it just slows the brain pattern down for a start. We can relax because we're starting to tap in to this beautiful intuitive space, which lives in the present moment. Your intuitive space is here now. Yes, it can help you take actions that impact your future. It can actually help you sense your future as well. Now, that's for another podcast. That's for another course or another call or another workshop. But for today, let's just say that our intuition is working, or our superconscious part of us, that super intuitive part of us is working in the now. And when we're in the now, there's nothing wrong. And you know that when you're holding a baby for the first time, your grandchild or your child, and you look in its face, there's just this present moment. There's no pattern to operate from. And you choose from a space of that, this openness, this expansiveness, this creativity, and all this possibility. And you kiss this baby, right? And when you're sitting watching the waves, thoughts will download, but there'll be thoughts of, well, wouldn't it be cool to do that? Or, oh, that's right, I really want to do that. And some thoughts that you've forgotten about or something to do on your to-do list will drop in because you've relaxed. And you're no longer thinking, I can't remember what was on my to-do list. So intuition is key, whatever you want to call it. That soul part of you, that spirit part of you, that superconscious nature of you is key to manifesting what you desire, because it's already operating out of infinite abundance. And when you really tap into it and you really activate it, that you need to go, that is lacking. There's nowhere that you need to choose. That is an action that is forced. There's nothing that seems wrong because you're choosing and acting from an inspired, soulful place. So our actions are different. The way we talk is different. The way our body moves and digests is different. The way we act is different. And it's a totally different operating system. Because you've been trained from little, particularly by the time you've hit 7, you've wired all these brain patterns in to be living in your brain and to be thinking. Because that's what school does, doesn't it? Preschool, kindergarten, whatever you call it, wherever you are in the world, and then school, primary, whatever you call it again, it's all about telling you we have to think through our problems. We're actually thinking is stinking, my friend. We actually have to stop, take a breather, breathe in, sit in this present moment, connect into our senses at this present moment, like, what am I touching here? What am I smelling here? What am I seeing here? What can I taste here? What can I hear here? And come back to this present moment and be like, wow, I'm right here in the now. Wow, what would I like to choose? What would Lisa like to choose now? So yeah, it's a totally different operating system, and it's what we're born into and what we're meant to operate from. However, we have been trained to operate from our brains. So can you see in your brain, you're already set up for failure, for lack, for thinking you're a failure, for thinking there's something wrong, for activating more of these filtering systems which activate more of life looking a certain way. So you keep observing life is hard. You keep noticing problems. You keep noticing negativity, because that's what your brain is wired to do. But when you tap into this present moment, when you tap into your intuition, there is nowhere you have to be. There's nothing you have to be doing, but you get to choose from this different place. And it feels absolutely amazing. This intuitive superconscious part. Because when we're in this part of us, there really isn't any problems. There isn't anywhere to get, and we're not activating all those brain patterns again. And when we're here, there's just this true abundance. And we realize there's nowhere to be. There's nothing we need to try and find. There's nothing we need to try and do. And we don't lack. And that's the hugest thing, my friends. Our brains tell us that we lack because we're bringing everything through these brain patterns. So our brains actually say to us, we lack. So the thing is, when we're operating out of our brain, we're actually activating filters, that RAS and other filters, that tell us we are lacking, that show us a filter and an observation and something else that is lacking. So we're observing life as if we lack. We're observing around us as if it lacks, so life lacks, so universe lacks. We're lacking abundance, we're lacking friendship, we're lacking skills, possibilities, we're lacking belonging, whatever it is. But when we tap into this whole new way to be, when we tap into this new structure of using our intuition, that superconscious part of us, we're not activating that lack anymore. Because when I'm sitting in this present moment and tapping into it, I feel nothing but abundance. I feel nothing but love and aroha for everything around me, including me. So when we activate this part of us, we are no longer triggering off those brain patterns that have us actually think we lack, and then we observe it as lacking, and then obviously we create it. So we're manifesting this lack over and over, and whatever that looks like. But underneath everything, basically, is this feeling of lacking, this feeling of there's something wrong. And when we tap in here, there's nothing wrong. We're just in this space of knowing everything is where it's meant to be. And all action then comes from this inspired place. All possibility comes from this inspired place. And when we're triggering our brain, we're listening to that and we're thinking, the only thing that is possible is everything that matches our belief. So we have this relationship with our mum, and that matches those beliefs. And nothing greater is available. But when we tap in here into this intuitive space and we ask, I wonder what else is available with my mum or whoever or whatever, then something can just show up. Our intuition allows us to activate possibility and the intelligence and the possibility that's in the quantum field or universe. And it's infinite, my friend. So why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you move your operating system, how you manifest what you desire, from using that brain-based stuff, that lower beta, into using your own internal wisdom, your inner intelligence, your superconscious? So get asking, get activating, start sitting and just being with you, and meditate and just be like, who really am I? What do I really desire? What would I like to do today? I wonder what possibilities are available to me. And just sit quietly with yourself, with your hands over your heart and your eyes closed, and just feel that presence that isn't your brain, where your brain has stopped, where the waves and those patterns of thinking have slowed right down. And if a thought comes in and it's not kind, just let it go and just listen for these downloads of who you truly are. And in the future, if you keep asking this, you've asked it now, you've activated it, you're going to get downloads. You're going to walk somewhere and go, I've just walked past this place. I'd love to try jiu-jitsu. Never thought of doing it before. I didn't even know it was in my city. Things like that. And it just shows up randomly, but not randomly. It's synchronicity, which we'll talk about on another call. But basically, what you've asked for and what you're congruent with is matching up. So it seems like you're lucky and you just run into someone. Or you see this thing that you'd love to do, you've never thought about before because you've asked, what do I desire? Who am I truly? Who am I? What's available to me? I wonder what's possible. And these people, these things, these opportunities, the money comes in. Now, of course, you still have to do the work to shift out of your brain patterns. You still have to bring some barriers and blocks out of the way. You still have to bring your frequency up higher. You still have to lift that brain pattern. So your day then is about staying in this higher frequency, staying out of that lower thinking, coming back to that meditative space and asking from a different place and tapping in. And again, we're going to share some of those things on another call. But thank you for being here. I hope you got a sense of the difference between brain-based and the difference between your intuition, your knowing, your inner intelligence, what I call the superconscious. Please follow, come and find me on Facebook, Lisa Coralie Miller. Head to www.msmanifestor Academy, academy.com. I'll put the link in the show notes anyway. You'll find some free journaling and some free training videos to get you going. But start asking those beautiful questions and start tapping into who you truly be. Not this brain-based person that sees that you lack, but this beautiful being that knows there's abundance in you and for you. Take care, my friends. Great having you here.